Hey there. I'm making my first kind of instructional video on, or just discussion video on resealing and replacing the gaskets on your Factory 5 headers and also to your side pipes. Now in this case I'm working on my Type 65 Coupe, so it's different from the Roadsters. Obviously the pipes are different. I'll show you that a little bit later, but what I really wanted to discuss was just I've just replaced recently the header gasket with this Permatex Ultra Copper, which is a gasket maker. It's a silicone product. Hope you can see that. Actually, I'll show you the old gasket. So this is the old gasket here, one of them, and yeah, as you can see, that fits underneath the header, of course, next to the cylinder head. So you can see there's been quite a bit of leakage from the gasket. So one of the problems I had, or at least issues that you may be having with these cars, is that you get some excessive exhaust smell inside the car because you're getting some exhaust leakage. So that was one of the things I was trying to address here. But instead of using another gasket, what I did is I went with the Permatex Ultra Copper in this case, which is a very high temperature product. I believe it's good for peaks up to 700 degrees Fahrenheit. And you know, some people have pointed out that you know that your exhaust gases are going to be very hot. This is true, but when you're using it in this application here as a gasket maker, it's not in the line of fire, as it were, in the middle of the exhaust gas stream. Actually, it's really what it's doing is it's sandwiched in a fairly thin layer in between the metal parts. So you're getting conduction of heat from the metal parts, right? You've got a header material here which is conducting heat away into the air. So I guess that's why this material can be used. But in any case, I took this on a couple of runs. This has been on a couple of good warm-up runs where I've really taken everything up to temperature. I like to do that, you know, every few days with this car when I've got it running, just to keep everything in operating condition. And I try not to drive it for short drives. I try to really get it warmed up and drive it for at least a half hour. Any case, I've taken it on a couple of these runs since doing this work, and today I'm just checking to see how the header bolts are going to do to make sure they're still reasonably tight. So that's what we're doing today. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, is just to ease off your spark plug wires. Just get those out of the way, and you don't want to get your tools in the way. Now in this case, I'm just going to zoom in here for you. Get here in behind. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I want you to notice the kinds of header bolts I'm using. Here I have some Allen key bolts. These are all header bolts, so they're fairly small head. So with some of these bolts, I couldn't fit the Allen key bolts in, so I had to use an older style, like in this case here. And I've got an 11mm wrench here. This is a small head here, so you just need to find the one that'll work for the space that you've got. So I think I've got basically only one that I had to do this way on this side, so that's fine. But let me just get the Allen key in here. And I'm just going to check that. Yeah, you see that needs a little bit of a torque. These require 20 foot-pounds, so it's not a whole lot of force. It's just keeping it snug, good and snug, but not really super tight. Nice easy hand tightening. So anyway, you just go along and you can see that some of these need a little bit of tightening after a couple of those runs, and those were the initial runs, as I say, after I installed this. I'm going to just zoom out. Oh no, I guess you can see it from there. That'll be okay. It's really hard to get in here. As you probably all know, those of you who are already worked on this stuff, it's really hard to get in here and work, but just have to take your time and make sure you get the tool on it. Oh wow, that really needed doing. Okay, that one was a little loose. Now these were all carefully torqued up according to the instructions from Permatex. You know, initially you do them hand tight when you apply the Permatex product, and then you wait about an hour and then you torque them up to spec. So they were all retorqued the next day after 24 hours of curing, just to make sure everything was good. And I'm just going again just to make sure everything's all feeling good. Yeah, that's all good. Nothing's going to change there. Probably notice also as you go ahead and tighten some of these, things will feel looser in other areas. It's just like any other multi-stage tightening. You have to be patient and work your way back and forth. That's about it right now. So now I'm just going to quickly show you the connection from the header to the side pipes. Obviously you use these exhaust clamps, and I just wanted to mention that I did apply Permatex to the inside of these clamps before I put them on. So basically I put heavy beads on both ends of the clamp, and then I slid it onto the pipes, making sure they were open enough so they could slide on, and then you just torque them on as normal once you've got them in a position that you like. So coming around here, we're going to look at that connection from over here. So it's pretty clean. One of the reasons I ended up doing this job was because I wanted to repaint the pipes. As you can see, they're pretty clean because I'm taking it to a car show in a few days, and I wanted it to look nice and pretty. And one of the issues that you have with these is you get like a sandblasting effect on the welds and then on the front here, just from stuff getting flicked up from the tires, I guess, and so on. Anyway, so I wanted to take care of that issue. And then I'm just going to give you a little bit more of a handheld close-up here for the, I want to show you that Permatex in here. Let me see if I can just focus in on that a bit better for you. There. Okay, so you can just see here there's a little bit of the excess of the Permatex that squirts out, that kind of squishes out when you put your exhaust header back on. And I found this stuff was pretty straightforward to use. It's a gasket maker, so you just apply it to whichever surface you want to apply it to. In this case I applied it to the actual cylinder head, and then I put the header on, being very careful with some help to position it so you didn't make a big mess and kind of like displace the goop, the silicone. So what I'm talking about is getting the header back into place. You want to have somebody hold that and help you stabilize it. And then you want to hand tighten a couple of bolts just to get it in place, and then from there on you can just tighten everything up by hand until you've got it in place. And you really want to do that as neatly as possible so you don't end up with any gaps in your silicone. This silicone maintains some flexibility in it, and obviously because it's, as you can see, it's kind of squirting out, it kind of squirted out over here. What's happening is when you tighten the exhaust header to the cylinder head, you're making sure this stuff fills all of those spaces in between the two metal surfaces. and that gives you a nice complete seal that is going to, well, at least as long as this material endures, is going to be very tight. I'm just doing a little handheld here on the driver's side of the car just to show you what happens on this side in terms of clearances. This is really the challenging side. Let me just get this strap out of here. This is really the challenging side of this job, at least it was for me, because, let me just get that focused. Because you've got this box here, you've got your brake fluids, you've got your steering linkage, you know, you've got your foot box with your pedals and all that kind of stuff in there, right? All those mechanical pieces. But the problem is it leaves you very, very little room by the header. And then Chris, who built this car, actually put a heat shield, as you can see, which is attached to the foot box and so on. And that works well, but one issue is that you're going to have less clearance to work with your tools. So you just have to take your time, be really patient, and that's what I do. Just take your time. Give yourself lots of room and time, and seems to solve almost every problem just by being able to give it enough time and not worry about it. I try to get this stuff done well in advance. If I want to take the car somewhere, you don't want to be doing it just before you go out. But you know, give yourself lots of time, and these cars are not daily drivers, so that's not hard to do. Since reinstalling the headers and side pipes using the Permatex Ultra Copper, I've noticed quite an improvement in the absence of exhaust gases. So it looks like we've got nice seals going. No major leaks that I can see at the moment. So I'm quite happy with it so far. I will give you some updates as time goes on, just to give you an idea of what the performance of the material is. I don't put a lot of mileage on this car. It's obviously not a daily driver, but I probably will, you know, put another 1,000 clicks on it or something by next year. Maybe I'll put 500 clicks, I don't really know. And I hope this was helpful for any of those of you who are interested in using these products or dealing with these issues, and that you're really enjoying your Factory 5 cars and getting out there when the weather's nice and ripping up the pavement. So, till next time, see ya.